everyone, and welcome back to A Mile of My Stilettos. I'm Crystal and this is my husband Ricky Jones Jr. And I'm so excited because I told you guys another time what my journey was, meeting, getting engaged, and marrying my husband all in just 9 months. I told y'all my side of the story, but I said, there's two sides to every story. And maybe you guys will be interested in hearing my husband's side. So he's here today to tell his side.
Yes, and so I wore this tracksuit because I was running. It was some parts where I had to run in this story, but nonetheless, I'm gonna tell you what's up. And then on the other end of it, we was running. You know what I'm saying? To get this thing done at the end of the day. Okay. Into marriage, right? So it's like a 2-part running series, okay? And the marathon continues, okay? First part, before we got married, so let's say it this way. I was a friendly guy, right? And so in all of my friendliness, there has been instances where lovely ladies have said, well, only one scenario. Let's see. Let me break it down. Which one came first? Boom. Okay. So there was this one young lady that I was dating, and we had dated in middle school or something, and then she came back into my life later on while I was in college. It was like, oh, okay, cool. Well, let's see how this goes. Let's see. And that didn't work out. Clearly, it didn't work out. But in the midst of that, there was a young lady who then came into my life who said, God said that we are to get married. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, I trust God, I know God, I love God, let's start dating and let's see where this goes. But we were kind of like serious on the mindset of what we were gonna do with what she had said, God had said. But nonetheless, as we got to know each other, as we furthered in our dating career, we'll call it, or journey. We'll call it a journey because it did end, okay? It didn't work out, obviously. God said to me that wasn't so. And I said, well, okay then, well, I gotta let you go. And I let her go, and it was just like that. God said that you're not my wife, so I'm not gonna string you along. Boom, gone. And then there was a period like right after I finished, or as I was finishing my undergrad, right before I started my grad school journey, and I met this other young lady, and it was like pretty cool. We helped one another out in life and things like, well, not like monetary, but more like support, right? And things like that. But that wasn't so. I was like, God, is this my wife? And God was clear to me in saying, no, it's not your wife. And he gave me the 3 tips. Remember the 3 tips in the other video that we talked about before? Those 3 things. Yep, the 3 things to make me aware of who my wife was. He gave it to me at that time, which validated or solidified that she wasn't the one, and I have yet to meet the one to meet all 3. So I was like, okay, cool. Well, I'm gonna just float in life. And so at this time, I had started my seminary journey. I was going to a school. I'm not gonna say the school because of what I'm about to say. I was going to a school with a preparation in being a chaplain in the Air Force, right? I was gonna go into the Air Force as a chaplain. In order to do so, you have to have your seminary degree, which then allows you to be a chaplain, and you go in as a captain and things like that, so forth and so on. So
he had a plan.
I know where I was going, and I was on the steps to making it happen. And it was one day when I was in the library, and I overheard, which is very rare for me, like I'm pretty much one to like stay in my own lane, stay in my own business, and mind my business, okay? And there was this time where these ladies were talking in the library, which I guess it was just weird. Like, who talks in the library? And I overheard them saying, girl, you better get ready because blank school is about to lose their accreditation, and so prepare yourself. And I was like, wait a minute, like, losing accreditation, I can't have that. So at that moment, I started looking up schools in the Atlanta area that I can go to for a seminary degree. And so I happened to come across Mercer University. So I applied. Boom, 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 let me apply. Send it, boom. Didn't even care. Told my parents, this is what I gotta do. They was like, okay, cool. They always rock with me, agree with me. Appreciate your parents. And so signed up, got called in, got accepted, all that good stuff. I transferred. And so just let me put the timeline to you. I graduated undergrad school in December. I started seminary school in May. I left there and started school in Mercer in August. And then starting school in August, I was, like a new student. So you go to orientation, you go through all those things. And at the time, at the orientation, there was this young lady who, shouts out to you, Christy. I'm gonna shout your name out because you're an integral part of this story as well. She pointed out to me, hey Ricky, you should look at her. Like, she's a nice young lady. She come from a nice family, a good family from Florida. I was like, oh, okay, cool. I'm good because I'm not worried about that. I'm not thinking about that. I'm here to focus on school, God, and going into the military, okay? I had my ducks lined up in a row.
That's it, and that's all.
That's it, that's all. Because at that time, I got out of the relationship. I had those previous relationships, amongst others, and I was just focused on getting into the military, doing what I needed to do, and I had the idea I would find my wife in the military because just life would be easier. Boom. Boom, boom, boom. She pointed her out to me. Nah. Not because of what she looked like. No, she looked nice. Like, she had some nice jeans on. Remember, she had a blue jeans on. She had a nice jacket. She had a burgundy purse. I think her hair was like in a bun. But that's neither here nor there because I wasn't focused on her at the time. So,
that's a lot of remembrance of detail for not focusing.
I'm just saying, your boy has a good memory and is photographic at the same time. And so we started school. Boom shakalaka. We started school in August, and it was like the first week in August. And you know what I'm saying? Like, we connected off the first week. It was like that Thursday. And the first week of school on a Thursday, we connected playing volleyball. I think y'all heard the story. We told the story before. Go look on other videos. And like, we connected from there. So it was like the collide, right? And so clearly I was running from the previous relationships because it was like, God said you, but God didn't say it to me. I choose what God said to me first. Okay, the other ones, it just didn't work out. But then I ran into this lovely young lady the first week of school. And I want to say by like by the end of the month, maybe even before the end of the month, I knew that she was my wife.
2 weeks after we met.
2 weeks after we met. Boom. It was just like that. And I expressed to her what God said to me, and she confirmed it that God said it to her as well. And that's all I needed. Okay, you heard what God said, I heard what God said, and we're gonna do what God said. And so we was like fast tracking it in a good way to our marriage, because like I said, and as she has already said, we met in August, got engaged in December, and then was married in June. Okay, so it was like August, December, June, and it's been cool ever since. Like,
we almost got married in May.
Yeah, it was just because of people's schedules, right?
Yeah, we would have been married sooner, but the people we wanted at our wedding, their schedules didn't align.
Yeah, so. Shouts out to you all who were able to make it and all that good stuff. But that was that in a nutshell. I don't know if there's any other details that you could think of that you think or may think your viewers would like to hear or to know. But like, it was just that, hearing and doing. Like, if I didn't overhear that conversation in the library because of their intrusion upon my personal studying space, I would not be at Mercer. And I would not have met this young lady because she was at Mercer. She wasn't at the blankety blank blank other school that I was at.
No, I didn't even look at any other schools. Literally, God told me to go to Mercer, and that's just where I went.
That's it.
And I think it's so cool because it's like, I just think about how God orders our steps.
Yep.
Like, if you heard my story, I was living in another state before I came to Mercer. And so definitely check that story out, my side, if you haven't heard it, because hearing both sides really helps see the full picture of how God will orchestrate your life to bring you into contact with the person that he has for you. And that's one of the reasons I wanted people to hear your side, because it wasn't like you were just already at Mercer or already going there and finally I showed up, or something like that. Like, I feel like God was so strategic in bringing the two of us together from the other places that we were in life to each other. And even when you say like you finished your undergrad in December, that was in Louisiana.
Correct.
So like, he went from Louisiana back to Atlanta, where, you know, he grew up. And a lot of people, when they finish school, they don't go back home. And you had good things going on for you in Louisiana. I know you were at the church there. You were serving, doing things, active. Like, so it's not even just that, you know, he was like, oh, well, there's nothing else happening for me here. Let me go back to Atlanta. Like, he had good things going on with him in Louisiana, but God still spoke to him and had him come back to Atlanta.
Right.
And so I just think that's so cool, and again, so worth mentioning. Just how intentional God will be in our journeys.
And even with that, like, I love what you said about intentional with our journeys, because even, and I wouldn't say like what I was doing was wrong as far as going to school to be a chaplain, but obviously it wasn't the ultimate plan. It was the thought in which I thought the plan could operate through, right? So God has shared with me that I would travel around the world sharing the love of God. Okay, well, my parents were in the military, retired from the military, all that good stuff. So I was like, okay, military is the way to do this, because one, you travel, I get to interact with people, and I can share his love around the world. Ding, ding, ding. And so on that progression of the military journey is where I ended up finding my wife and realizing the military isn't what I have to do, right? There's other ways, such as missions, such as outreach, right? And so that is a way in which I then was able to travel around the world, sharing the love of God and going to different countries and things like that. So much so that as soon as we got married, it was like within our first 3 or so months, our first month of being married, we went to Aruba, like off the rip, had a stamp, traveling around the world, sharing the love of God. That was all I had to do on that trip. She actually was the speaker for the youth event or young adult event. And so I just had the opportunity to share love, my love to her, my love to others, and they were lovely people. Like, shouts out to the people in Aruba. But all that to say, like, just allow God to work out the plan. You do what you need to do. Don't stay dormant. I had to be active. She had to be active for our paths to meet, but at the same time, we were active in something that we felt like was in the positive direction.
Right. So, we were both in pursuit of what we believe God was calling us to do.
Destiny.
And I love, even that's for you guys that have been on the channel, you know, I'm doing a 365 to Destiny challenge. I'm letting y'all catch up on the videos and stuff. But one of the things that I'm really big on is pursuing your destiny. Yes. And one of the great things that Ricky said is, like, yes, we're big on. One of the things that Ricky said is you have to stay active. Like, stay active pursuing what you believe God is calling you to do. Because as long as you're staying active in pursuit of what you believe God said, He's able to continue to speak and move and adjust you in the way that He needs to get you where He needs you to be and on the path that He needs you to be in. And so that's what happened with him. Like he said, he was thinking, oh, I'm going to be in the military and this is how this is all going to work out. Even though God knew the plan was not for him to be in the military. He
still working through that.
He had another way for him.
Yeah.
He was like, okay, yeah, go to Mercer so you can do this chaplain thing so you could, you know, be in the military. Like, he still had that path.
Yeah.
Allowed him to take that path just so he could get where he needed him to be to meet me.
Yes,
and, you know, get his, you know, masters and all that, because my baby is smart. But I just, like I said, I just think it's so cool. I've told you guys before in other videos that I've done how important it is to, when you're looking for your spouse, to be in pursuit of what God is calling you to do, not to stop what you're doing to meet them.
Correct.
No, they're gonna find you doing what God called you to do.
On the way to destiny.
Like,
we weren't looking for each other. Well, I mean, I wasn't. She might have been looking
no,
for
I
somebody.
really wasn't necessary.
Oh, okay.
I was like keeping my eyes open because I knew I desired marriage. And so, you know, how you gonna find somebody who's walking around with your head down?
Gotcha.
But, so I mean,
I was just the opposite, I was always hearing.
Aware.
I was always listening and hearing God. Like, that was a thing and still is a thing that I strive for each and every day. I don't want to miss what God has to say to me each and every day. And so when He made it available and made it aware, I was like, okay, cool, let's rock it. Like, it wasn't even, God didn't even say to me like, hey, look at her. It wasn't that. It was, this is your wife. Somebody planted the seed. Christy, shouts out to you. She planted the seed of, hey, what do you think about her? You should go talk to her. So at the end of the day, shouts out to you, because we do know the word says that one will plant the seed, one will water, and I'm gonna say vent. You were the waterer, and God will be the increase. And that's just what happened. Christy planted the seed. A friend of ours watered that seed, allowing us to come together and all that good stuff. And here's the increase. Here's the fruit. We're together now. 2 kids traveled around the world. We'll continue to travel around the world, and now we're before you here today. So, man, that was awesome. I didn't even put all those things together until this video. But at the end of the day, God is good. Okay, that's all we can say. Well, that's all I can say.
Yes, and I had a thought even while you were talking, and I was just gonna say that. Oh shoot, I had a thought and I lost my thought.
That's okay.
Let me get my thought. So I remember my thought. And I was just gonna say, even when I came to Mercer, it wasn't, God didn't say like, oh Crystal, when you get to Mercer, look for your husband. Oh Crystal, when you get to Mercer, you're gonna find your husband. And so I was like, oh, I have to go to Mercer because that's where my husband is gonna be. So it wasn't even in that thought process or that vein. I just knew that in this multiple transitions that I had even leading up to Mercer, I knew I was coming into a season where God was going to have me meet the person that was going to be my husband. And so I was just aware. I was aware that this was something that God was preparing to bring into my life. And so my obedience in going to Mercer, moving back to Atlanta, it wasn't contingent upon, oh, I know my husband's going to be there, so that's why I'm going to go. It was my obedience in doing that because that's what God was telling me to do at the time. And it wasn't until I acted on that obedience that God brought out of that situation, you know, what he planned. This. But yeah, that was just like a thought. That's a thought that I had forgotten.
That's it. I dig it.
But yeah, so any other pieces of your journey that you wanted to share?
No, I mean, I feel like I said it. I feel like we're good. If there's any things that you have for me as far as questions are concerned, let me know in the comment section, and I'll definitely check it out. I haven't been doing good about that, but let me go back to other videos that I've been on as well and see if I need to interject, add, or anything like that. But I will start. You hear me saying it now. I will start now with this video, making sure I check your comments out.
Yeah.
Because I do like to talk.
Thank you guys so much for watching this video, joining us today. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Share this video if you think it will be helpful to a friend that you may have that's, you know, also seeking marriage. You guys, we believe in godly marriages. We believe God is still bringing people together to be in union forever. We believe God is still in the business of doing godly business. Period. Okay, so if you want to join the Miss to Mrs. journey here in the Mile High Club, make sure, like I said, that you hit that subscribe button, and we will see you guys next time.
Pursue destiny.